Cool. All right. So I kind of want you guys to think about your friend groups, right? They influence you in some way or another. You probably have a couple different friend groups that you hang out with, all of whom have different interests, right? And you might share some interests with them, or you might not. And in today's day and age, you probably connect with these friends through some form of social media, right? Whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is a huge one, obviously. You're connected to your direct friends, but you're also connected to your friends' friends, right? There's this whole network, this whole social network going on. And though the interaction with those indirect friends isn't as intense as it is with your direct friend, they're probably still influencing you somehow, right? You're seeing what they're posting on Facebook, the discussions that they're in, their likes, their dislikes, etc. And, all together, these people have a big influence on your life. If a friend tells you that they got food poisoning at a restaurant, you're probably not going to go there, right? You don't want to get sick. You saw that they were puking their guts out. That's disgusting. So what if I told you that, in this respect of social groups, you're not so different from birds, right? People say birds aren't real, but they are. So birds also form social groups. So as ornithologists, we see that certain species form what we call mixed species flocks. So it's a couple different species that are kind of living together, flocking together, and there's a bunch of benefits that come with that. They have better predator avoidance, increased information, relay and transfer, and it also increases their learning. So, it's essentially, we're able to create these social networks, as you can see. Oh, my slide. I should probably put that up. Uh-oh.
Just use the arrow.
Cool. We create these social networks with the chickadees. You can see who's hanging out with who. So the circles are called nodes, and that's an individual bird within this mixed species flock. And I'm specifically looking at Carolina hybrid and black-capped chickadees and how they're interacting with each other at our feeder arrays. As part of my larger study, my thesis study, I'm collecting the social interaction data. We go out, we collect the birds, and we give them essentially, it's an easy pass, a little RFID tag that goes around their leg. And when they come to my feeders, it records the date, the time, and their ID number. So we're able to see which birds are interacting with each other, at the feeders, and it's really cool. So the nodes are the circles, those are individual birds, and the lines are called edges. And the thicker the line, the more intense the interaction is between those two birds. So you can see we have some pretty thick lines up there. Those birds are interacting quite often. And with that data that I'm collecting from the feeders, we create these social networks. So we get these webs. And my thesis is looking at specifically cognition, but the social network data that I'm collecting creates these webs, but the really important thing is that you can see these communities that are forming. The feeders, they have 3 modes that they put them in. Open mode, where it's a mechanical door that remains open, and any bird in the area can come, regardless of if they're pit tagged or not. The next one is all access mode, so all pit tagged birds, when they come to the feeder, the door will actually open for them, and they can get the seed out. And then the final mode is target mode. So the birds that are pit tagged, they're only allowed access to a specific feeder if their name is on a VIP list that's installed on the board. And throughout these 3 stages, you can see that, I'll tell you that the food is cut off from the birds. If you're not on that list, you're not getting to eat the seed inside, right? So a trend that I was kind of seeing when looking at this data and analyzing it was that the social structures of these birds, the Carolina, the hybrid, and the black-capped chickadees, they change. So yes, we have 2 distinct groups. You can see there's a blue group and a pink group. But in each mode, different birds are interacting with each other. And these 2 different communities are kind of forming, which is really neat. So overall, the data is kind of showing us how flexible, or a term that we use is plastic, learning and cognition in these birds is. So, yeah, they're kind of smart. They kind of figure things out. But that's, I believe, everything that I've got for you guys. So thank you very much.
All right, we have 30 seconds for one question. 30 seconds. Any questions?
Hit me. Yes.
Why chickadees? Are they known to be particularly social, or would you expect to see different behaviors from different
So
kinds of birds?
yes, that's a good question. Chickadees are they're social birds. They have these mixed species flocks. Everyone kind of has a different role. They're satellite species, and they kind of recruit people or other birds into their flocks. But what I'm specifically interested with my thesis is we have black-capped chickadees, that are up north more so in their range, and Carolina chickadees down south, and they meet in this place called the hybrid zone. And they meet and they have these hybrid babies. So we're kind of looking at how the cognition of these hybrids is compared to their non-admixed parental species. So this was kind of just a little part of what I'm doing, but that's the reason I'm looking at chickadees, is because, essentially, how smart are these babies, and then how does that affect not just their individual survival rates, but also the entire, fitness of the whole species, if that helps. Sweet.
Great. Well, thank you so much.